that's the card. Then we've gone for, oh my goodness. That was close. This desk is too small. Anyway, how much do you actually need to spend to get yourself an awesome rig for 1080p or 1440p gaming? And I'm not talking about bargain basement to get you by, I mean something that gets you high frame rates in AAA titles at high settings, has the latest tech, looks great, runs cool and quiet, and every component has great reviews. Could you actually do it for around £1,000? Well, it turns out yes, actually, but only just. Hey guys, I'm Tom the Tech Chap, and I'm just about squeezing into my little PC setup here. I definitely need to get a bigger desk, but as you guys know, building or upgrading your PC can be very, very expensive, not least because components right now are just ridiculous in terms of their pricing, but also when you actually come to spec what you want, it's really easy just to go, well, if I spend an extra £30 or £40 for a slightly better CPU or GPU, then it just goes on, and eventually you're looking at £2 or £3 grand for a PC. So I set myself a challenge. What would be the best PC that I would buy and build hand-picked specs for around £1,000 or so? And this is what I've come up with here. And actually, I'm really, really happy with it. It turns out you can actually build yourself a great PC, assuming the components are in stock, without completely breaking the bank. So the real key here is a great value CPU and GPU combination. And I've gone for this 6-core 12-thread Intel i5-11400F and also NVIDIA's RTX 3060. Now the 3060 in here packs a pretty serious punch, and then pairing it with one of Intel's new lower-end chips like this i5 actually is a bit of a performance bargain compared to their higher tier models, and also Ryzen chips, which actually can't compete at this price. And despite the moderate price, this actually has quite a few nice extras that makes it feel much more expensive. For example, we've got this great looking mesh fronted mid-tower PC, a fast NVMe 1TB SSD, 16 gigs of speedy 3600 MHz RAM, Wi-Fi 6E, Corsair RGB fans with a controller hub, as well as an aftermarket cooler on the GPU. I've got the KFA2 3060 model here, along with a great CPU cooler, and also a fully modular 650 watt PSU. But I know what you're thinking, Tom, that sounds great, but where can you actually buy a card like the 3060 for retail price? This KFA2 card should cost you about £330. But right now on eBay and on a lot of websites, it's double that or more. I think the technical term is a bit of a show, actually, but I've gone ahead with the build anyway for a few reasons. One, because if you are buying now on a budget, this is still a great example of the kind of system you could get, even at inflated prices. Two, if you're watching this maybe in the future at a time when the market has calmed down a bit. And also three, if you've got the patience to put in multiple pre-orders and maybe keep an eye on stock refreshes from retailers, then there is a chance you can snag yourself a GPU for something close to retail prices. So let's dig in a little bit deeper, because the best part of building a new PC is choosing the components, going through PC Part Picker and different retailers, spending hours and hours going between different components, figuring out what you can afford and what will work well with your build. Honestly, that's the best part of it. That's the most fun for me. However, while I wanted to keep this as close to that 1,000 budget as possible, if I were you, I would definitely pay the extra £80 or so to get the 3060 Ti, which is a good 20 to 25% faster than the 3060, and definitely worth it if you're playing at 1440. And you can still pair it with the i5-11400 or 11600. But whatever your setup looks like, I definitely recommend using Surfshark VPN. It genuinely is the only VPN I use. I have it installed on all my devices, and it just helps keep you safe online, blocking ads and malware, hides your location, and there's some fun stuff as well. I can go from my UK Netflix, then log into, say, a New York server, and then I get access to the US Netflix. And you can get Surfshark on pretty much every platform. There's even a handy Chrome extension tool. So if you do fancy giving this a try, click the link below or use the code TechChap at the checkout to get 83% off and also 3 months extra for free. And if you're not convinced, then they also have a 100% money back guarantee. So why not give Surfshark VPN a try? But as you guys know, it's not just about the raw performance with these cards. Really the big magical leap forward in terms of performance is DLSS, the deep learning super sampling, and it's just incredible stuff, and really the biggest reason if you are still rocking a 10 series or older to upgrade if you can. And to be honest, it's essential for getting playable frame rates out of games like Cyberpunk, especially if you are going to turn on ray tracing as well. And it also boosts others like Fortnite into proper high refresh territory. DLSS is genuinely the best thing since sliced bread. I just realized I never actually took the side off. Let me give you a better view. So that's the card. Then we've gone for, oh my goodness. Anyway, as for the CPU, I've gone with Intel's 11th gen i5-11400F. I think I've got that right, which costs about £150, $150. And I think it's a really good value chip. It's fast, and being 6-core with 12 threads, it's good for both gaming and productivity, and also crucially, it won't bottleneck the 3060. Now, the only downside with the 11400F is it's non-overclockable, but if you want to spend an extra £80 or so, you could get yourself the 11600K or KF, which do support overclocking as well as having faster clock speeds, so that would be a good choice if you can afford it and pay a little bit extra over the £1,000 budget of this build. Of course, you could consider Team Red with, say, AMD's 5600X, which is competitive to the 11600 from Intel, but really, value, I don't think anything can beat the 11400 right now. As for the motherboard, I've gone with MSI's MAG B560M mortar. And I know what you're thinking, it's micro ATX, why spend extra for that? But it didn't need to be, this just fits my feature criteria and my budget. And also, B560 boards are really good value, offering most of what you get from a full fat Z590, except for overclocking and with fewer PCIe 4 lanes. But the PCIe 4 graphics card slot is still a x16, but then you only have one PCIe 4 M2 slot. But we are getting some nice extras, as I say, like Wi-Fi 6E, plenty of USB ports on the back, including a Type-C, along with RGB headers, although for this build, I did need an extra fan connector hub. But I tell you what, when it comes to picking a PC case, there's only really two things I think about: the price and does it have a mesh front. You can get some beautiful high-end glass or plastic builds, but unless you have a ton of fans and some good cooling elsewhere, really for this kind of budget, you're going to want a mesh front. So you've got that good airflow through the fans onto your components, and therefore you get the best performance. So that's why I've gone with the Fantex P360A. We've got mesh front and top, it's a good size. I like this white color as well, and it doesn't cost a fortune. We also get this tempered glass side panel, and it comes with two RGB fans, as well as an RGB strip along the side. And I found it really easy to build in, with plenty of room for the GPU. Downsides? Well, there's no USB-C or dust filter on the front, and also the build quality is good rather than amazing. As for RAM, I went with 16 gigs of Crucial Ballistics 3600 MHz, which is actually pretty fast for a budget build like this, although it only cost me a few pounds extra over the 3000 MHz. And if you do want a bit of go faster RGB, then I'd spend around 15 quid extra for something like Corsair's Vengeance RGB Pro or similar. For storage, I went with the Adata 1TB PCIe 3 drive. It's not PCIe 4, but it's still seriously quick and you can always swap it out later. Now, as much as I really do like a good all-in-one water cooler, if you're scrimping and saving, you really can't beat the value of a good old-fashioned tower air cooler. And I think Be Quiet makes some of the best ones. And sure enough, I couldn't even hear this over the other system fans. There are plenty of other options at this price range, but this is a solid, well-reviewed choice. As for fans, well, first I was going to go with the Noctua SF12B Redux. These shift a ton of air, and also being Noctua, they do it quietly. And at this price, I think they're a steal. Problem is, I'm a bit of a sucker for RGB, which is why instead I went with these Corsair SP120 Elites, which also comes bundled with their Node Core RGB controller. But I think as long as you're not spending a fortune, adding a bit of color and flair to your PC is all the more fun, and actually these fans help illuminate the interior and make this look like a much more expensive setup. These do cost a little bit more, but you are getting 3 fans, and I also moved the bundled fans up into the roof. Although of course they won't work with Corsair's IQ Control app. For the power supply, I went with the EVGA Supernova 650 G3. Nvidia recommends a 550 watt system with a 3060, so I think 650 is fine. So I've spec'd it, I've built it. Now, how well does it actually perform in games? Well, I've actually tested a ton with this, and in nearly every case you can expect a solid 60 to 100 FPS at Quad HD with max settings in pretty much any game you throw at it. And also my quick overclock got me anywhere from a 5 to 12% FPS boost. So there you have it, the official mid-range-ish £1,000 thereabouts Tech Chap recommended build. And if you do fancy buying or building this for yourself, I'll put links to every component I've used below. And while I will admit that I am no master PC builder, I'm no PC centric, Marcus would definitely show me up if he built one of these himself. But everyone's different, everyone's budget is different, and also depending on where you live, the availability of these actual components, well, who knows? So yeah, I'll leave links below, check them out. Hopefully you can get them for a good deal and build yourself a tasty little budget PC like this. Thanks for watching, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more from me, and I'll catch you next time right here on the Tech Chat. Oh, and just quickly, don't forget to check out Surfshark VPN. I've left a link below. Use the code TechChap to get 83% off and 3 extra months for free. And even though they are sponsoring this, I would genuinely recommend them.